I'm going to talk about Pink Floyd. More specifically, Roger Waters' reimagining the beloved classic Money from his upcoming album Dark Side of the Moon Redux. This album is coming out in a week's time from roughly the upload of this video, and I will be reacting to that. But I've already reacted to his reimagining of Money, detailed in this video here. TLDW, it wasn't very good. Oi! Anyway, I'm going to be reacting to a few of the comments that I got on that video because I just thought it would be kind of interesting. Here we go.
Thank you for this, will not purchase.
No problems, mate. I will, however, stream it for a full review when it comes out. It speaks for itself, really. It's quite interesting that I managed to have enough influence on somebody's opinion that they decided not to purchase the album before it even comes out. I was only reacting to one song, which I didn't enjoy.
This is horrible.
Really hope he's talking about the song and not my review. I mean, it certainly wasn't what I was expecting, but then again, it wouldn't be prog if it was normal.
I'm really not a fan of spoken word music, even dislike rap mostly. I think he took much of what was good about Money and really took it away. A huge part of the song is not just the message, but the feeling you get from listening to the instrumentation. I really like the original, so I had much to live up to. So maybe I'm at fault for disliking it. Maybe I'm too conservative. But my opinion has not changed after a second listen.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, mate. Good music makes you listen, but great music makes you feel. If anything, I believe that Roger has removed the very feeling that made the song Money, well, the great song that was Money. Now, it may come as a surprise, I do like rap music as well, it's just that blues and rock is sort of like more my kind of jam. And I can understand why people really didn't get on with the vocals that Roger tried to put into this. It was very different, it's a lot more... I mean, experimental is the wrong word because prog rock music is founded upon nothing but experimentation. Hell, there were several times in which Pink Floyd tried to record a whole album using nothing but kitchen utensils, for God's sake. And he is right, that it does have a lot to live up to. The original song, Money, was absolutely insanely fantastic. If you're going to take anything that had that much of an impact on people, that much of an effect, and was that much loved, if you do anything to it, it's going to raise a few eyebrows and, well, it could raise a few middle fingers if you're not careful. Roger did take a bit of a risk with this, but, you know, that's his prerogative, that's what he wants to do.
A very eloquent response.
Hey, thank you.
It's clear old Rog has lost his mind.
Toys in the attic, truly gone fishing, over the rainbow.
There was a Pink Floyd box set of Dark Side of the Moon that actually came with a bag of marbles. Waters' Redux box set will not contain marbles, as he has lost all of his.
I love that. That's...
Roger thinks he is Pink Floyd.
You're right, that is not hyperbole, he really does. I was excited for reimagining, honestly. Sadly, he's removed so much Pink Floyd from a legendary Pink Floyd track that it proves that he was perhaps not the most important or indeed sole contributor after all. Truly, which one's Pink? For those who don't know, that's actually a reference to a time when Pink Floyd went to a record office and they were talking to the CEO or something like that, and halfway through the conversation, the CEO just said, "Oh yeah, by the way, which one's Pink?" And it's like, none of us, we're Pink Floyd, no one of us is, it's not about one person. And I think that kind of encapsulates what's going on here. Roger did seem to think that he was everything that made Pink Floyd, when in reality there was a lot more to it than that.
For a reimagining of Dark Side of the Moon, I prefer Dub Side of the Moon.
Agreed, that is a terrific version.
Yep, a great listen. Flaming Lips also do a great version of the whole album.
I have forgotten what voices I gave each of these people, so I apologise if I give you multiple voices. I still have to check that out. Thanks for the recommendation. Dub Side of the Moon is amazing. If you haven't heard it, please, please, please check it out. It's all like reggae and dub versions of every single Dark Side of the Moon song. It's of the album. It works really well. Do give it a listen.
It's my project and I wrote it. Let's get rid of all this wee crap. There, he said it. Roger Waters is a mediocre lyricist whose contrived melodramatic themes are cringy. There, I said it. And I'll add, the only reason Dark Side of the Moon is so memorable is because of Gilmour's soaring guitar, Wright's imaginative synth and keyboards, and Mason's driving rhythm, all brought together to give life to Waters' words. The music created would give life to any song. Imagine if you took the music from Dark Side of the Moon and replaced it with lyrics from any 70s soppy, sad song, and it would still hold up. And the other way around. The lyrics without the rest of the band, you would have Redux, which proves my point. I rest my case.
I'm not entirely sure I agree with everything that this comment says. He does make some good points, don't get me wrong. Dark Side of the Moon is memorable not just because of the lyrics. There are so many different things that happen in that album. That's what makes it a phenomenal album. And I'm pretty certain that the music wasn't actually a foundation or a backdrop to Waters' lyrics. I think they were worked on not independently as such. You know, there was a certain amount of synergy going on between all four band members on this piece. That's why it's so good. The lyrics without the rest of the band, that's kind of an interesting one. I think that Waters is a phenomenal lyricist. I genuinely think that whilst he does have some rather unusual examples of maybe not the best lyric writing, I also think he's got some of the absolute bloody best lyric writing that I've heard in any rock, blues, hell, in any music actually, thinking about it.
Waters didn't only write the lyrics, he wrote or co-wrote the music of all tracks on it except Any Colour You Like, as it is plainly stated on musical sheets and more deeply explained in the Dark Side of the Moon classic album documentary. He also provided the demo of Time, which they reworked in studio after. Gilmour worked mostly on the embellishing and melodic aspects of the songs. It was a teamwork, but Waters is obviously much more important to the music than you give him credit for.
Yeah,
It's not meant to be the same as the original, that's the point. Roger has explained why he wanted to express this in a different way. Obviously nobody is listening, this is what is wrong with the world today. I love it because I love music that has relevance and real emotion. Roger didn't intend for the Redux to be better or worse than Dark Side of the Moon, he just wanted to do something different with it. So if you don't like it, don't buy it, and get off his back. After all, you all know that he is a musical genius who deserves nothing but respect.
I wouldn't say he deserves nothing but respect. I think that's maybe pushing it a little bit. I think it's better to say that this reimagining isn't for everyone. That's fair. This individual is obviously, a big Roger Waters fan, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. I didn't like what Roger Waters has done in this Redux so far. He didn't make it for me at the end of the day, did he? But maybe he made it for you. That's fine. Not sure why you brought in the world today thing. I think that's a conversation to have for a different video. Not on my channel. Put it on your channel. That'd be cool.
Yeah, he's clearly going off in very different directions, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're all free to love, hate, or meh. It doesn't affect our love of the original, but is an interesting diversion.
Yeah, nail on the head. Well and truly there.
Yeah, well, when other people are fucking your wife, remember they are not just doing it better or worse, just some things you want to do different with it.
What? I like this comment. It's just so out of left field.
I like your studio.
Thank you, I like your comment. Thanks, it's a little bit cleaner now.
Imagine in 50 years you hadn't listened to anything new and your tastes and ideas had not changed a bit, and your body had not aged a day, your mind had not changed a bit. Then you would make no changes to your concept of 50 years ago. Now imagining you have been alive and doing different things, seeing different things during 50 years, then you would see your creation with different eyes, wouldn't you? Have you listened to his CD, The Lockdown Sessions? You would understand this better if you do.
I have not listened to that, thank you, I will give that a listen. You are right, people do change. Over 50 years they are likely to change. I think the problem that I had with what I'm hearing so far in Redux, I don't really find much to latch on to, whereas I found a lot to latch on to with Dark Side of the Moon. Even 15 years ago when I first heard it, I was able to connect with it, and that's what's so timeless and incredible about it. Even a millennial 35 years later after it had been first released can still have that kind of connection with it. It can still have that kind of impact on somebody like me. I do understand this whole, what if you didn't change? Again, I don't think the album is made for me. I think Roger is making this with a very specific audience. If any audience at all. He's probably just doing it for himself, which is also perfectly fine. You make music for the listener, and the first listener is always the person who makes it.
In my honest opinion, Amused to Death is better than some Waters-era Pink Floyd albums. Only Dark Side and Wish You Were Here beats it.
Not sure if I agree with that. Are we talking about The Wall? Because probably not. Are we talking about Animals? Because definitely not. Are we talking about The Final Cut? Right, okay. I wouldn't have said better. I think that this goes back to the other comment. It's not so much better as it is different. When Roger started doing his solo stuff, he was completely unencumbered by other people bringing things to the table in the same way that he did in the band Pink Floyd. So he had a lot more creative freedom in many respects, I think. But what I like about a band is the fact that you get different people's influences and input from different angles, and that really builds a sound that no one of them would ever create on their own. Amused to Death is good, don't get me wrong. I just think that his lyrics get a little bit too weird for my liking in some of his solo stuff. It's as if he's trying to make a point of saying, here, check out this lyric. This is strange, this will make you think. And it didn't, but that's just how I interpret it. Really.
I could live without close-ups of the dog's tongue. What does a sumo wrestler have to do with money? Roger is avoiding a lawsuit by not having the sax and guitar solos.
I mean, If he did a completely different sax and guitar solo, then it wouldn't be any kind of copyright issue whatsoever. I don't think that's anything to do with that. If the whole album is just spoken word, then I'm not too sure if I'm going to enjoy it, just because that's not my scene. But I'm looking forward to giving it a whirl. I'm just not sure I'm necessarily going to enjoy it. It's not a hate watch, it's not a hate watch, I swear. I don't understand the dog's tongue. I'm not a huge fan of dogs' tongues, to be honest.
His ego has destroyed the best album in the history of music. This garbage will never sell.
Has it? Has it really? It hasn't destroyed anything. No reimagining is ever going to destroy the original material. That doesn't make sense. The Dark Side of the Moon is not a finite resource. Are you saying that what you've heard is now you're always going to think that every time that you listen to the original Dark Side of the Moon? Because if that's the case, mate, I recommend you go, just close the blinds, sit down, have a drink, have a smoke, whatever, and listen to Dark Side of the Moon. And really listen to it. Don't listen to it in the background. Really listen to it and enjoy it and let it envelop you.
Wow, wow, all you Roger haters make me laugh.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I'm disliking. I'm welcome to do that. Oh, but at least you managed to get a laugh out of it, so I'm glad you enjoyed that.
You are right. The money guitar solo is godly. Back then in the 70s when I was listening to it for the first time, it was the best I'd ever heard, and actually it still is. It is the perfect solo. Aggressive, bold, crazy, one of David's best. In the 70s, it was even more astonishing than nowadays.
Have you heard the live version from Pulse? Someone called Nigel Tufnell, because David turned that solo up to 11. Keep Walking on the Grass. I'd really like to hear a little bit more about your opinion of this, as you've been the only one who said that you experienced it the first time around back in the 70s. I'd also really like to know if you're a guitarist or a musician. When I first heard all of this, I was fairly new to music, I was fairly new to playing guitar, and this was back in the noughties, so I was like, I'd already been bombarded with 90s pop and new metal and all that kind of stuff, so coming across this and hearing for the first time in my situation was like, wait, this happened more than 30 years ago? This is insane. What was it like to hear it for the very first time in that landscape? That is a thing that I could never, ever experience myself.
I've only heard the new version of Money and I really like it. I'm a big fan of the original album version also, and I don't think this new version is meant to replace it. It sits side by side with it, and adds to the overall offering.
Yeah, cool man, I'm glad you enjoyed it, really. I mean, I don't know if it's meant to sit next to it. If you have them like side by side, I think they are meant to be two very different things. That's kind of what Roger is going for here. But I'm glad that you enjoy it. I'm really glad that you enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy the whole album when it does come out.
Indeed. Did he want to make us laugh?
Maybe? I don't know. Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming along for this. This is very different to the kind of things that I normally do. I just thought I was getting so many comments on this video, I was like, I need to address what's going on here, because I can't really express it properly in the YouTube comments. I tried to reply to as many of them as I could, but I very quickly realised that, yeah, I'm not really getting my point across here necessarily. So I thought I'd do it as a video. Thank you to everybody who commented. Thank you very much for watching that video. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've got anything you'd like to build upon on that, please do comment down below. Anyway, I'm going to sit here and wait until Redux comes out in 8 days today. 7 days is when I upload this video. 6th of October, so keep an eye out for that one. I'll do a reaction to that as soon after that as I'm able to. Let's find out what Roger does to the rest of Dark Side of the Moon. He must be mad. He must be mad.